Okay, got a few videos to get through today, so I'll try and get through them as quick as I can. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You're watching BWTM Sports Gaming. If you haven't subscribed already, please do hit the like and subscribe button right now. Appreciate it. Now, so let's talk about George Kambosos uh, versus Devin Haney, undisputed. So if you ask me for my initial thoughts on this fight, I could be completely wrong, but I think this fight has come too soon for Devin Haney. Yep, I'm going to say the unpopular thing. Um, Devin Haney, for me, is a talented young fighter. In today's era where people want everything right now, they haven't got time to wait for a guy to progress and to learn his trade or learn your trade the proper way. As soon as a guy has 12 fights, he's knocked a few guys out. It's like, when you're going to get a world title shot? Then it's right. When you're going to fight for a world title? Then you win a world title. Then it's like, when you're going to fight the baddest person on the planet? And that school of prospect, contender to champion, that thing that kind of makes you, in my mind, a solid champion is what I don't see in Devin Haney. Devin Haney, for me, and I hope that he proves me completely wrong. Devin Haney, to me, seems to be like very much a front runner. In some ways, he reminds me of Amir Khan. And hear me when I say this. Khan comes out very fast, very sharp. And Haney does the same thing. He comes out very fast, very sharp. For about 5 to 6 rounds. Looks sharp, good jab, good right hands, good combination punching, looks the business. But after about 5 or 6 rounds, the tempo seems to drop. And Devin Haney starts to make mistakes. And his defense is not as good as people would like to believe that it is, or his people would like to tell you that it is. The thing with Devin Haney I'm concerned about is that I've seen him on numerous times now get rocked and hurt. And I've always thought that if a guy in there with a little bit more hunger, a little bit more desire, and a little bit more to lose was able to be there in those rounds where Haney gets hurt and is able to jump on him and to capitalize on those mistakes. You see, if I'm George Kambosos, right, and you ask me who I would rather fight between Lomachenko and Haney, I'll go Haney, because to me Haney still seems green to me. That might not be popular for a lot of boxing fans. That might not be popular for a lot of channels. But I'm not talking to be popular, nor am I talking to be controversial. It's my personal opinion, and everyone's entitled to their personal opinion. But from what I've seen of Devin Haney, I think if I were managing him, I'd like to see him have 2 or 3 more fights, tighten up his defense, showing you can do the 12 rounds consistently, start round 1 and finish round 12 strong. What I mean by that is that middle patch, that 6 onwards, where I feel that he fades and I feel that he's defensively vulnerable and he can be hit and he can be hurt and it can be stopped, right? I see vulnerabilities there. When you look at Lomachenko, yeah, you saw he got dropped in a fight. But when you look at Lomachenko, he's a guy that his footwork is on point, his defense is on point, yeah, his punching power is there. He doesn't give you the same. So you look at him, you think, oh, you don't see as much vulnerabilities. When you look at Devin Haney, there are vulnerabilities there, and it's those vulnerabilities I think George Kambosos is relying on, or I think he says, well, I'm going to take this. That's what I see. If I'm advising Kambosos, I say, listen, you stay away from Lomachenko. You might be behind in points against Haney, but you can come back and you can stop him late. You can stop Haney late. And I don't think Haney's got the best chin in the world. I think his chin is suspect. It's suspect, and the way he fights in the second half of the fight, leaves his chin vulnerable to getting caught and knocked out. Let's just hope in this fight that Devin Haney's got the punching power to put Kambosos on the back foot and keep him there. Because if he doesn't, if Kambosos is still there in round 6 and 7, and he hasn't taken a beating, or let me say he hasn't taken a beating, he hasn't been significantly hurt by Haney, and this fight goes into a dogfight, George Kambosos will come out on top in a dogfight. I just don't think, I think for me, the substance of Haney is what I question. He has style, he has skill set, and very much like Conlon, good fighter, but hasn't really been put into that acid test consistently. And I think that Kambosos can do that. I think if Kambosos is to put it on Haney and back him up and make him fight in that first 6 rounds, and the pace drops, Kambosos can get on top of Haney and he can stop Haney. That's what I think. So Haney, to me, has to show more than he's shown in his previous fights for me to beat Kambosos in this fight. And if he goes to points and he's in Australia, I don't know. I don't know about that. You know, I'm not sure. But Haney does not. Good morning, Latvinda. Haney does not. He's not one of these guys that I would rush home to go and see fight. Like if I was out with some friends and like Devin Haney was fighting, I wouldn't rush home to watch Devin Haney fight. He just doesn't inspire me in that way. That doesn't mean he's not a good fighter, and that doesn't mean that that because I don't think he doesn't inspire me to watch boxing, or he doesn't inspire me to stay up at 4 o'clock in the morning to watch him fight. That doesn't mean that he's not a good fighter. That just means he's not the sort of guy that, at the moment, I think he's a guy that is force ripe. Do you understand? Somebody who's been pushed through the system, force ripe. And this thing about him being the next Mayweather, that's another thing. No, he's not the next Mayweather. He's just Devin Haney. And he may fight a little bit like Floyd, but I just don't believe in Devin Haney in that way. Smith Weston says, Devin Haney got his start at 16 with the Tijuana. Yeah, he may have been the case. That may have been the case now. I'm not disputing that. But what I'm saying is what I see of Devin Haney in his performances as he's stepping up. Like, I keep remembering the guy's name every time, where he put about the 10th round, put a combination together, and Haney was walking back to the corner. And then also, I think the fight after that, he got rocked as well. I don't like seeing guys in fights getting rocked the way that Devin Haney gets rocked. The way he gets rocked, and like I said, there's a pattern in the way that he fights. And if he cannot knock Kambosos out, if he cannot hurt Kambosos, Devin Haney's in for a long night, a long, painful night, because Kambosos is going to bring it, and he's going to bring it, and he's going to keep bringing it. And Tifo and Lopez hits much harder, I think, than Haney, and Kambosos was able to suck it all up and come back. And that kind of guy is very dangerous. And a guy like Kambosos is not a guy that's going to just give the belts up. I think he's a guy who's going to stay dedicated. He's going to be in the gym. He's going to be training, and he's going to only keep them belts. That's how I see this fight with Kambosos and Haney. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. And Haney comes out and puts on a masterclass. But fighters' fighting patterns, and I expect to see Haney come out fast and sharp. And for the first few rounds, give Kambosos some problems. But as Kambosos starts to get closer and closer and closer, and then clip Haney, and then the punches start flying, the fireworks. That is where we'll see whether Haney can become an undisputed champion. Right there, in that dogfight. question whether Haney can come through that. If he does, then he deserves to go on to be undisputed champion. But the fights I've seen so far, no, he hasn't been beaten. But the fights so far, he's going to be fighting a live dog in there. A live dog in there that's got everything to lose. And fighting in front of all these people. And a man that's been on the road, almost like a road warrior. So, and people gave Kambosos no chance. And I said going into the fight with Kambosos that he could upset Teofimo Lopez. So I think Teofimo Lopez, his mind was off the job anyway. I think his mind was on other things, other fights, and distracted and blamed his own hype. I think Kambosos will put the work in. But let's wait and see. Let's wait and see how this fight pans out. We haven't got long to wait. I hope for Devin Haney to win this fight. He's got to be able to keep Kambosos on the outside. He cannot afford Kambosos to get on the inside and let his hands go. For Kambosos, he has got to stamp his authority from round one, come out and let Haney know, not tonight, my friend. Not tonight. Not in Melbourne. It's not happening. And turn it into a dogfight as quick as possible. Forget a boxing match. Turn it into a dogfight. Straight up dogfight. Because I think that's Kambosos' best win. I don't see Kambosos outboxing Haney, but I do see him out-brawling Haney. I do see him, like I said, in the latter half of the fight, as Haney slows. That's why I think Kambosos will come on. All right, those are my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Thank you for watching. As always, this has been BWTM Sports. Roll on Haney, Kambosos. Thanks for watching.